Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, it's Monday, we're right back to the top of the charts looking at the top performing map of the moment, and it's this one. It's based on a kind of the outlying islands, the Keys, I guess, from Florida, and it looks really very nice at first sight. Just a slightly different variation on the island map and the Keys maps that we've seen a few of lately. Now, it does have an interesting thing with it that has caused me to spend quite some time on the map in terms of learning something. I have learned something new about the game today, and I will be sharing that with you as we carry on. But before we carry on with anything, well, it is a bit of a carry on, isn't it? But before we carry on with anything, it's time for that daily reminder. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is Corridor Bay by Nightmare Ostrich. Oh, what a great name. Has to be capitalised as well. With a name like that, it has to be. Let's have a look at that start square. Looks very good to me. Intersection with your three highway entrances all coming together in one big merge. The terrain heights is mostly about underwater terrain heights. It's very flat, but underwater we have some great variances. You have resource differences of, well, it's offshore ore and a little bit of forestry, and if you have Sunset Harbour, you want to do some fishing, those are your options right there. Off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, you'll be pleased to know no DLC today. We'll be using the Bermuda theme with, would you believe, the Vanilla Boreal LUT. That's what's been requested in the description there, so we'll go with Vanilla Boreal. And there's a nicely written description which even accepts the little interesting thing with today's map, which I'm going to make a note of today before we start on the highways with a vanilla standing stone. You see, there's something very interesting with the sea levels today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the exact location where the sea level is when the game loads. And then we'll come back and check it a little bit later on. So there we go. That's where the sea level is now. When we come back and check it later on, we'll see how that has changed. Now, the creator doesn't know what caused this. Fortunately, because I spent this is a map that I should have spent an hour and a half on. There's not that much content within. I could have flown over it, done a very quick throwaway review, as I'm able to do sometimes, and they're my favourite sorts of reviews, the ones that I can record quickly, cover everything, get on, have a life, rather than the great maps where I have to spend hours on doing them. Believe me, I love doing them too, but sometimes it's just nice to do a quickie, out of the way. This should have been a quickie. The issue with the map, which I say the creator couldn't understand, I've never seen before. Now, maybe I should have done. Oh, by the way, just looking at the highways coming into the map. No rail on today's map, so we'll be skipping straight to the intermission once we get to the edge of the map. But yes, something that I think I probably should have been aware of, and I think probably some of you may know. But after 1200 maps, I'd not learnt this. And it confused. In fact, it concerned me so much that I think I've got to check it out on some other maps as well. But certainly in testing on today's map, I think I have learnt something today. And let me know in the comments if you already knew. If you already knew, then great. Minor grumble about the merging of these 2-lane up to the 3-lane highway, 4-lane highways there. First of all, 2-lane to 4-lane. Whatever. But also the bend there just didn't feel very natural. I'm not saying that I would have done it any differently. I'm just saying at first glance that one has a quick flyover, again way out from the buildable areas, so you're probably not going to worry too much about it. But given that this isn't a map, this is a map with not too many talking points, little things like that I think are going to get mentioned. Yeah, of course, the map, the more you pack into a map, the more there is that can go wrong. The more there is that can make the map shine, and it's finding that balance. It's always finding that balance. If you're building a map, do you spend an extra 30 hours trying to squeeze out an extra star, because by doing that you might actually lose a star. But people will appreciate the work. This is the thing, we can see when somebody's put a lot of love into a map. I think there's a fair amount of love that's gone into this one. The shape and design of the map are a little bit different from the normal. Just going elevated now, and we're going to go across via a big old bridge, because everybody loves a big old bridge, don't they? A big old bridge which is going to allow for shipping to go underneath. I'll let you know right now, so you don't start getting excited about, oh, there's going to be a complete mess up here. Nah, there's no problem with these. There's no problem with these. First of all, they look great. The slopes and the bends and the transition through all of these big old bridges are spot on. We're not going to have any ships doing anything stupid like going through pillars when you've left a big gap in the middle like that one. They're fine. They're absolutely fine, and they are I'm going to say of the top quality. Really good to see, of course, this different, can't remember which road network it is, but again, it's in the requirements list. And again, it looks pretty cool. The transition between the elevated to ground level is a bit stark here, but I've seen stark like this in real life, where you go from an elevated to, well, it's still elevated, but a different sort of road network. And again, a very slick intersection here. This is done beautifully well. I'm not sure whether this has been plopped, but it does have the one problem that you can't get to it from this direction or from the opposite direction. Just the direction that we came in will get you to the start square there. So yeah, a couple of extra highway ramps required, or some other solution. Now, my least favourite part of the map, other than the fact that you can't quite get to the start square, is this elevated section here. It looks like a scar in the environment to me. Now, I can see in places where it looks like it's been possibly smoothed with one of the sort of like tapered brushes that we have available. But even so, it looks odd, and it looks out of keeping with the rest of the map. So where it's been done, I mean, again, there may be a section of the Florida highway that looks exactly like this, and if there are, thank you very much, guys. I'm just looking at this map, how it works on this map, and it looks really unfinished. It looks really unfinished. Yeah, you could have little sections which would be a bit rough maybe, but then you would have sections which are smooth, which are transitions, which we don't have here. It just feels like it's an unfinished elevated highway, and that's my observation with it. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. Okay, right, so we've managed to avoid any trees on the road, which is great. Oh, one there just looking like it's encroaching onto the gravel along the side of the road there. Watch out for anyone. Getting a bit treey down here. A bit tree is the term. There you go, another one on the gravel. Now that looks like it's one of the cluster of tree sets. You've got to be careful with those. When a lot of players play with the random tree rotation button, like this one here, if you just move that slightly, it'll rotate the trees, and so it's always worth a lot of us use that one. It may be fine in the map editor, but actually, oh, hang on, we've got one actually on the road here. Let's just give this little bit of a wiggle. Benefit of the doubt to the creator. Let's give this a bit of a wiggle, and no matter how we do it on that spot, there's always a tree on the road or deep into the gravel. So I think we can take away the benefit of the doubt for the creator there. We have encroaching trees on the highway. Again, I would mark that down minorly if it was a random tree rotation thing, but it would still be a thing, because again, a lot of us use that one. But yeah, the amount of trees that we have actually on the road there, which would be with or without the random rotation mod, which is a great mod. It just makes your forests look a little bit, rather than have all the trees facing the same direction, it gives a little bit of diversity to the forests. Anyway, we are about done. As I said earlier, we have no rail on today's map, so we're going to take a brief intermission. When we come back, we'll check for the shipping, which I've told you is good already. We'll check for the water, which the creator says is a problem in the description. I'll tell you why it isn't. And then we'll have a look at that sea level and, of course, the rest of the map as it goes. So, here's that intermission.
Are you fed up with random vanilla buildings spawning in random locations? Do you want a specific type of building in a particular zone? They need the beginner's guide to theme management. Click the information button below.
And so back to Corridor Bay by Nightmare Ostrich. And those shipping routes, yes, no problem. This could be... Something going right through my living room there, thank you. That could have been more central through the bridge pass there. But it's not a problem. And again, that one could be slightly more central going through the bridge pass. But again, not really an issue. I'm just talking about minor adjustments, and honestly, it's not anything I would really grumble about. Just something to talk about while vehicles go crashing through my living room. Okay, let's have a look at the water flow. Now, they say that there's no water in the no water motion in the start square, and I agree. There is no water motion in the start square. However, we have access to two separate sources, one on either side of the start square. Like, if you pump out your sewage there, is it going to reach where you'd be drawing the water from on the other side? I doubt that you're going to get an awful lot of pollution coming around all the way around there. So I think it's probably going to be okay. Right, so let's have a quick look at the rest of the... We haven't been down this way. Let's have a look down here. Again, we've got an elevated section of highway down here that looks a little bit unfinished. And a little bit... Actually, don't mind that one so much. The 3 lanes down to 2 lanes. It's a little bit more polished than the 4 lanes to 2 lanes that we saw earlier. Although, again, I still feel it could be a little bit more finessed. But it's still not too bad at all. Could we have some elevated trees here? And again, this is that tree cluster. When working with the tree clusters, because they are not terrain conforming, you do need to make sure when you're putting them on the hill that they still stick into the ground. Because somebody like me is going to come along and comment about it otherwise. Ah, yes. Anyway, what we got here is we have beach extending up on. I believe that. Do you know what? I'm gonna roll with that one. I believe we could have had sand blow up to there, so that is fine. And then we're heading out to these little outlying islands. You're not going to be doing any building out here, but you could possibly. And the beaches, notice the beaches are getting a little bit bigger. Is that because the sea level is dropping, we ask ourselves? I think it probably is a little bit. Might be getting close to the time that we go and have a look for that standing stone. But Phil, let's have a look at the forested. Let's have a look at the forests, the density of the forest before we go and have a look at that. I like it. Do you know what? I like the density. This island's perfect, right? The right amount of density and the right mixture of trees. Just 2 different trees in there, and it just gives it a little bit of height and a mix of densities. And on this map, what you see there, I mean, it won't work on every map, but on this map, what you see here as well, I've got some cluster of bushes on the beach, but I'm okay with most of this. That works on today's map, and I think all credit for it. And also, the Boreal Lut, the Vanilla Boreal Lut. Look how good this looks. Okay, the shapes of the forest as well on the main island there are fine. It just adds a bit of interest. Right, standing stone. Standing stone down here is now quite some way in, so the water level is dropping. We'll come back immediately after. We'll do the asset review, where there will be a little bit of time lapse, which you do not notice because I'm really good at these sort of things now. There's your start square, which means we'll take a quick look at this asset of the day. Getting my timing really badly wrong today. Sorry for the 1 second pause of me not talking. Can you believe that? A whole second of BonBonB not talking. Basilica of Santa Maria in... I was practicing this on Sunday. Trastevere? Sorry. Rome by Zarrix. My Italian not... I'm just going to call it Basilica of Santa Maria in Rome. There you go. I'm happy with that. Factoids. Because factoids, I've not read this in advance, it could be very rude. I do hope not. Let me have a quick glance. The nerve fibres in the body of the giant squid are 500 times thicker than in our own. 500 times thicker nerve fibres. Gets on my nerves. But no, the giant squid. What the amount of great horror movies, giant squids taking down ships and stuff like that. I mean, small boats, maybe, but ships, I gotta love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love this asset as well. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for a clock tower, there is separate to subscribe to. I forgot to subscribe to it, but you can add a clock tower into that using Move It. It looks amazing. The Basilica of Santa Maria in wherever it is in Rome by Zarrix. Today's asset of the day. Trastevere, something. Yeah, we go. Right, okay, we've had some time pass that you did not notice because I'm really good at these things. And this is the water level now. It's settled at this level. You notice we can now walk right the way across to the mainland. You can call it the mainland, the main island, possibly. It's a problem. Now, quick water 101 is in order here. So you get evaporation of water off the map, and the water is replaced by water spawn points. Now, water spawn points you can put in as rivers and stuff like that, but also we have an edge of map water being fed in. Shall we head up between these two islands? Let's head up this way, right? So if we have a look over here and we'll switch the water view on, you'll see we have water motion being with water being pushed in from the side. So we have a good strong water flow coming in from the side of the map, which should keep the water up to the sea level, which I promise you the sea level is correctly set. It's not that the creators got the sea level wrong, they've got the sea level completely right. What I had not learned, what I had not realized is have a look at the depths of the water around the outside. It's shallow here, but it's really deep across the other three sides. And it turns out that you need shallow water for water to actually be spawned. Like here, we've got water spawn there. Coming along here, deep water, no water motion at all the way along here. I'm going to keep going. I'm still going. You can't really make it out, but I'm still going. I'm still going. We'll get to, there you go. There's, that's where ships are coming in. Deep water along here. Then when we get to shallow water again, if you have a look down here, we have arrows again. So yes, you need shallow water. And what we've got on this map is just one small stretch of shallow water along the top of the map there. The rest of it is deep, and it's not actually providing enough water flow to fill what is being evaporated. And that is what's causing the water to drop. So there's a bit of work to be done there. However, when we get to my ratings at the end, I'll let you know something that I think it actually works in benefit for the map. But what do you think of it? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now, or the link in the description where you can vote for free. Okay, so what do I think of today's map? Aesthetically, I think it works quite nicely. I think aesthetically it's quite pleasing. I know we're not pushing any bells for going to the next level or anything like that, but it's pleasing on the eye, and I think we're going to go for a high 3. Detailing. There's not really much wrong with it. It's got a little bit of encroaching trees on the road, and that's about it. The rest of the detailing is more than fine, so I'm going to go for a very slightly above middle 3. Just slightly above middle 3. Gameplay potential. Right, okay, here's the thing. It is playable. We've got the problem with the start square, with the traffic not being able to get into only from one of the 3 directions. But that low water level issue actually allows for more buildable space. So indirectly, I think we actually have a little bit of a bonus going on there. So I think these things balance themselves out. I think in the end we have a 3-star map for gameplay. And that's it. Corridor Bay by Nightmare Ostrich. I think as maps go, it's an interesting shape. You know what? It's an interesting shape. For me, that's the thing that caught my attention. It was just a bit different from the regular keys shape maps that we get. Credit for that one. Just needs some shallower waters around the outside. I can understand why we had the deeper waters for the realism, but yeah, shallower waters to allow for extra water flow. Anyway, thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking and for subscribing. If you're still here, you're part of the 20 and Now Elite. Use the word of the day into the comments, and I'll be back tomorrow with another map in the What Map series. It is a request map by a big creator.